Hi all, Jin here, and the most hyped banner since Aranea has finally arrived. So, should we buy into all the hype? Well, if you already saw my pool battle with Resfoina, then you know I did. The link to that pool battle will be in the description below if you're interested. Leo here will be my 4th purple of the month that I'll be covering, the previous 3 being Vayne, Beatrix, and Selfie, with the lone one I have left to purple being Fran for this month. As with my previous analysis vids, I'll be going over his kit, what I think about it, and my recommendations, along with taking him out to the current chaos fight to see how he performs. As usual, there are timestamps in the pinned comment, so you can jump to any part of the video you like. For Galuf, I currently plan to keep him only at EX plus 03, so I will quickly go over his kit and EX plus and explain my reasoning. Galuf has one of the most beautiful EXs in my opinion. He's a unit that works as a tank that takes away all single target damage away from your party via the cover ability, rather than lock, while also countering with an HP attack and completely dodging physical attacks via his dodge ability. He does not counter or completely dodge magic attacks, but he does have a high evasion due to his EX buff, which gives 60% evasion up and attack up, while also giving him an HP regen of 20% max HP, while giving the party brave damage reduction of 40%. So his EX buff is quite good in shoring up his weaknesses. He also has the all-important last stand passive a tank should have, so he's a great cheese character and has been for a while now on boss battles with mostly single target physical attacks, but he doesn't do as well for magic and AoE heavy fights. I'd say he's similar to Celis, where she's for magic and he's for physical, and they absolutely destroy certain fights and then can still be used in others, just not to the super cheese level that it would be for fights catered to them. I still use Celis all the time to great effect now, so I feel Galuf also would be able to be used in a myriad of fights outside of his niche, which is also why I'm tempted to 3-3 him as well, but for now I'll just leave him at 0-3. He does need to use both of his abilities twice to be properly set up, since the first uses will be the non-plus versions. Dodge plus is what allows him to counter after dodging physical attacks, while cover plus covers all allies instead of just the one he selects. And it gives them a nice 60% max brave up buff, but it is generic so it can be pushed off. He actually gives himself 5 total buffs, 2 being unique, so he can easily get his own max brave buff pushed off, but he does give the party an impressive 70% attack aura, which is absolutely fantastic for a non-support character. Although he had already a level 70, he comes with a rework, which gave his brave ability an additional hit and gave his cover ability longer buff durations, as well as an attack up buff, and his HP plus only requires Galuf to be buffed, and it now has a brave gain prior. His dodge ability becomes a 3-hit brave plus HP attack while gaining overflow and longer buff durations, and a 20-turn max brave up buff to himself. His counter becomes a 4-hit brave plus HP attack, and also brave refunds him 20% of HP damage dealt. So quite the rework, but he's been around for a long time. It's only natural for him to be brought up to speed. His EX plus is 0-3, allows his EX ability dual wield blade blitz to deal more damage and overflow. It's not that great, but his EX is up very fast, so any extra damage is nice, along with the extra raw weapon stats, so I'll gladly take an ingot for a book to do this. 1-3 gives him attack up of 40% and max brave up 60%. It would be nice if he got more attacks since he doesn't hit that hard, especially on his counter. 2-3 allows him to get brave refund from 20% HP damage dealt from his EX ability, and that allows him to avoid getting broken when his general evasion fails against magic attacks. And his first turn, he gets an ability use that has an instant turn rate and does not count towards the turn count. So this will help him set up faster and use his non-plus abilities right away. This is similar to how Onion Knight plays, but Galuf doesn't start off with a free ability use like Onion Knight does. At 3-3, it unlocks his HP++, and his EX ability hits even harder, which, as mentioned before, is up a lot. His HP++ has a brave gain prior to 3 brave hits, while also battering the party after. So if you plan to use Galuf a lot, getting him 3-3 I'd say is pretty important, since you rely on his HP++ a lot, since his cover ability and dodge ability are primarily used just to refresh the 2 corresponding framed buffs. Since he doesn't have that many skill uses, his C65 will refresh a skill use of each at least. His buffs do have a decent length to them to last him through fights, but since the cover buffs are on the party member themselves, he won't work as well with fast units like Vayne, who are blazing through the cover buffs. Also, if the enemy often dispels framed buffs, he becomes pretty much useless. So the reason I've chosen to leave him at 0-3 rather than 3-3, aside from my ingots being reserved for others, is that Galuf's primary utility of cheesing physical fights does not require any ingots. Hell, he could do some chaos fights at 35 CP still, so if you bring the right units with him to supplement the damage, he'll work just fine for that reason. And why you would want to 3-3 him is the same reason I 3-3'd Celis. It's because you like him, you want to bring him to fights that don't exactly cater to his niche, but he can still contribute. He can also solo some Dimension's End at least tier 5 I believe, if you can 3-3 him. His Fear that increases attack by 10% after evasion is obviously great for him. and any other spheres that increase attack would be ideal for him as well. And for arts, 108 is the primary stat that you're going for, with buffed attack and 330 being primary secondaries. Alright, enough about Galuf. On to my purple of the banner, General Leo. Let's go over his base kit first. His skill 1, Call for Precision Strike. Batteries the party based on 100% of his attack, is a 4 brave hit HP attack with 150% overflow that grants himself the framed buff Leader for 6 turns that increases his attack and max brave by 30%, while granting him HP plus and brave plus. Both are 2 brave hits. His skill 1 also debuffs the target with Precision Strike, which allows essentially all single target brave hits to deal weakness damage. He can only have this debuff on one enemy at a time, so similar to how 7's debuff works, it will dispel itself from the non-targeted enemy. His skill 2, Master Blade, is a 3 brave hit HP attack executed a whopping 4 times with 120% overflow. It also batteries allies with 10% HP damage dealt, which can be a decent amount, especially if he's filled on Brave prior. The target will be delayed by 1 turn at minimum, and by 2 turns if it's inflicted with his debuff from skill 1. His EX ability Shock is a 4 AoE Brave plus AoE Split HP attack with 150% overflow. It will hit a lot harder if there's only one single enemy. Grants him the unique buff Gestalion Loyalty, which grants him an additional 30% attack up and the party additional 30% max brave up. His C65 and C70 will allow him to freely reset any target with 6 turns of his debuff Precision Strike, but it will dispel non-targets as usual, while also increasing the party's max brave by 10% for 3 turns. His Bloom gives him 2 more uses, so I'd say this is a must to get for him. Alright, so on to his EX Plus. At 0-3, his EX ability hits harder and gains 180% overflow, with the big important thing of giving his next turn a free ability use. And I love these. Skill recharges and free skills after EXs are just the best, I think. And it's great that it's right at his 0-3 too, just like Golbez. At 1-3, he gets attack and max brave 40% up, while giving him his upgraded HP++ and Brave++, both increasing to 3 brave hits, while HP++ gains 120% overflow. At 2-3, he gets his 2 unique buffs to start off, and at the start of each wave, a random target is inflicted with his debuff. That's also similar to how 7 works in regards to her debuff. I'm not too thrilled that it's random, but better than having to apply it first every time, and you don't have to consider wasting a skill 1 on lesser or trash waves either. At 3-3, his EX ability hits harder and gains 200% overflow, and whenever there's a single enemy it becomes Shock Plus, which after the standard EX hit goes off, it will gain back Brave 30% of HP damage dealt and do a follow-up 6 Brave hit HP attack. So, you could run a budget Leo at 0-3 or 1-3 for his utility alone, because at 0-3 he gets his free ability use, and at 1-3 he gets his HP++. But if you use him a lot, I'd definitely recommend him to be 3-3. He is a single target specialist, and having that follow-up attack on his EX will allow his EX to deal the proper damage like other DPSs, and his EX is up fairly often as well. His sphere gives 10% additional brave damage to single target abilities, obviously a very specific and great one for him, but it can also go on to folks like Sephiroth, whose Fervent Blow has tons of brave hits, or Bane with his free turns gets tons of brave hits as well. Other good spheres for Leo would be those that increase his attack primarily, because attack increases his battery for skill 1, and since his skill 2 does many HP dumps, it's better to get more attack rather than max brave. He does have a C-sphere, and I can't say I'd recommend giving him any C-spheres to be honest. Most of those C-spheres are better off on a support, many deal with I-Brave or Max Brave, and none of his kit revolves around those much, and he has one of the lowest I-Brave base stats in the game. The only ones that would be okay are way off in the distance like Garnets or Marias that raise attack when own HP is restored. Otherwise, just leave his C-sphere empty. So onto his arts, which as mentioned prior, attack is his most important stat. Go for 108s as priority, with his C50 as secondary. His C50 is a bit interesting, which grants 5% increased attack, max brave, int brave, and defense while his debuff is active. So it's not only just attack and max brave as most C50s are for DPS. And of course, 330s are the third priority. My arts, as you can see, are neither of those two. And randomly I have a bunch of iBrave, which is, funnily enough, I just said didn't matter much. But that's what I got out of 100 Idoja, so I thought it's pretty impressive how it turned out already. I would have loved if 108, 170 was his best art, but it's not. So I will have to keep rolling his arts to try to get some better, but these are definitely serviceable for now. Okay, so a summary of how to play Leo. If you have not at least 2-3'd him, you would need to start with skill 1 to apply his debuff on your desired target, as well as gain his unique buff. If you have at least 2-3'd him, and your debuff isn't applied on the proper target, and this is an issue, you'd have to also use skill 1 to apply it on the correct target. since any use of his skill 2 is gimped without the debuff. His C65 can also be used as an option to reset the debuff to the correct target. Since he has 3 of them, you can be a little bit more cavalier with using them. Or you can just technically reset the wave if you cared enough to have the RNG work in your favor, but that's kind of a hassle. These would be situations, for example, where the debuff is on an ad and not the main boss. But of course, if it's a single target fight, it's not a problem. He's ready to crush that boss right away. So with Leo in the party for multiple target waves and bosses, you kind of want to just focus down one boss at a time. So whoever you have or want the debuff on, try to kill them down first. Then eventually the remaining boss will be left for Leo to destroy and unlock his Shock Plus EX ability. That's assuming you 3-3'd him. Don't forget that you have the option to use his free ability on his C65 as well to switch focus immediately onto a different target, so you can use his skill 2 right after. Try to avoid using his skill 2 on targets not afflicted with the debuff, so you either have to skill 1 or C65 prior to skill 2 on a new target. But personally, I'd recommend timing it so you have the debuff on the target you want prior to using his EX on the next turn, so that your free ability can be used for his best ability, the skill 2. So, General Leo's pros. He's pretty much the Aranea of single target fights, so in short, he's a monster for single target. His longevity and free ability uses on his skill 2 that potentially delay 2 turns while dealing weakness damage on 4 HP dumps is amazing. His utility in providing weakness damage to other single target abilities in the party is very beneficial as well, and it lasts 6 turns rather than Aranea's 2 turns. He not only brings the damage and the utility, but he also brings the heals, which is rare for a DPS. I guess it'd be somewhat similar to Agrius, where you can bring him with great supports that can't heal, ignoring C-spheres of course, like Sarah and Ramza. He also provides auras to the party, albeit minimal, but it's still better than nothing, and he can battery the party with both skills. His EX is relatively fast, so you'll be getting plenty of free skills and damage, and he's also a terrific friend unit. His cons, well, it's that he's so focused on a single target that fights with multiple enemies lower his damage potential. You'll constantly have to manage his debuff in those kind of fights to make sure it's applied to the target you want, and you don't really want him focusing on any other enemy outside of the one with the debuff, so you have to have your teammates handle the other Brave Shaving, but at least his EX does have AoE Brave Shaving. If you have to for some reason use his skill 2 on a non-debuff target, he will hit for much less. His debuff also won't benefit party members who don't deal single target Brave damage. I also very much dislike that his Shock Plus, which is the reason you want to 3-3 him for, won't trigger until you've killed all but one enemy. Also, let's say you're fighting a boss that spawns lots of ads all the time, well then he's just constantly in between being able to use Shock Plus and not. But then again, he does have his delays to avoid the boss from calling back any ads as well, so there is a solution for that. My final thoughts on Leo? Well, he's still that much of a single target monster that it's worth investing in him. His ability to perform the delay cheese would have been bar none had Aranea not existed, but it's not like you can't double down and have both if you wanted, right? Him being a DPS healer means you can form a variety of comps around him, and you're not required to bring a support healer. You will, however, still need to bring along additional auras since he is not a support himself. You could stick him with Selfie and you'll be getting tons of free ability delays from his even faster EX recharge, which isn't that slow to begin with, which is something I do plan to abuse eventually, but not for now. I'm going to plan on featuring a full synergy comp for this chaos, Leo at 3-3, Galuf at 0-3, and I think I'm going to go with Lilisette at 35 CP. I did mention in my pool battle with Resfoina that Lilisette's banner gave me 3 Kuja dupes and 0 of hers, so it wasn't like I wasn't trying to get her EX, but I could not, and similar to Aiko, I got 3 dupes of the other EX, and so I'm stuck bringing them with their 35 CP, but let's see how it goes. This fight can also be done via co-ops, but we're going to go solo for now. And we'll see, what do we have here? I guess we can always do the standard Setzer friend. It's fine with me. Let's give it a whirl. Let's go ahead and get their debuffs on. So my debuff is on the Spectre, which is good. I kind of want to kill him first anyways. Just go ahead and HP plus first, since everyone's kind of built on Brave already. And we're gonna cover you. Now we can delay this guy a bit. And we're gonna break this guy. Get all my buffs up. Still need to use the plus versions eventually. So 0-3 Galuf starts off pretty slowly. We're gonna focus on killing down the guy with the debuff first, so that we can be left with one lone enemy. Look at that, 2 abilities and Galuf's EX is up. And it does pretty good damage. He's in synergy, but... And that's his evasion working. That's a magic attack, so he has a 70% evasion. Pretty good. 31k from 0 Brave is pretty good as well. Ow, dude. I forgot Galuf wasn't covering her. Sorry, my girl. I'll cover you now. Is that okay? Nope, sorry. EX time. Nope, sorry. And free delay. With the high turn rate and everything. Let's get their debuffs back on. And we'll get my EX back up again. Nope, sorry. This is the cheese factor we're talking about with the old man. It's a bit odd that the old man is the one protecting everybody, but that's how it is. Hey man, I just put those debuffs on. That's why I like killing that guy first. Let's go ahead and Brave Leo. Might as well make sure we don't get broken. Get our EX up at the same time. Whoops. Sorry. Free delay. I love the free delays. Imagine when he's with Selfie, how many delays you can get. And actually Galuf with the delayer is not that good, because you want the enemy to get as many turns as possible. I'll go ahead and dump this first. Should be saving some abilities for the last wave. But I can't help myself. I want my EX up again. I'll tone it down when I need to. She's gonna get broken. But it's okay. I mean, what am I talking about? She has cover. Galuf is the man. And this guy hopefully dies. Alright, time to shift our focus. Well, the split should kill him. And let's go ahead and get the debuffs back up. No HP plus here. Free delay. I should reapply it, but I don't want to. I want to use the skill 2 on free abilities usually. I'll reapply the debuff on this turn. And get my EX up. Selfie would just allow him to use HP pluses more actually, because he goes free ability, then another ability, his EX is already up. Now I got shock plus. Ow, man. I don't got my dodge up anymore. Now weakness damage. We're gonna start HP plus in a little bit here. Get my blade block plus up. That doesn't matter because I'm covered. Let's go ahead. We'll just brave attack for now. Yo, can you dodge it please? Now get my EX up. HP plus. These should take care of him. Leo's EX will take care of him hopefully. Shock plus. Yep. Oh, look at them run. Alright, time to spam abilities on this wave hopefully, and we'll see how tanky he is. Leo can keep going and going pretty much. I've only technically used one of his skill 2. The rest have just been free abilities. As such. Let's go ahead and cover everybody again after this. Get our buff back up. Cover. And we'll get our sensual dance after. Too bad. What's up with all these magic attacks? Come on. There we go. That's looking like a big counter. Beautiful. I would like to 3-3 him, but not right now. Let's go ahead and yeah. Let's not get broken from this. She can get sapped and hopefully not get broken. Yep. Just as planned. Just as planned. Get countered, fool. I wish cover would dump HP as well. EX up after this. Get countered. Nope. Magic attack. Whoa, that's a lot. I'm feeling like I need to have more urgency. He's looking kind of tanky and I'm only having 24 turns left. So better to be a little bit more aggressive. And yeah, switch my buffs up, dodge. Get countered. Get shocked. I'm going to save my last skill one for refreshing my buffs. Let's go ahead and cover everybody. Yeah, I do want Galuf to act a little bit more than that. I don't know why him and Leo are on the same banner, but they are. Alright, let's go ahead and do this. We got a Brave Plus, and we're gonna switch her out, and we are going to summon. No, let's go ahead and freeze him. And we'll use your C65, then we shall summon. $95K, not too bad. And this should hit weakness damage. Single target red card. Delay until infinity, my friend. Goodbye. And yep, let's go ahead and battery red card here. And battery this guy. Get wrecked, fool. $16 turns left. I assume I will make score as long as I make turn count. Now it's just about spamming skills. It's nice that all that batteries everybody too. It's beautiful. It's getting tight. It's getting tight. And battery. Not like it matters. It'll do 0 HP damage. Get countered. Alright, I'm going to go ahead, the free ability. I think I should have done the S2. Wow, is this tight? Is this tight or what? Yes! I made it. Now let's see if I got score. Yes! Beautifully done, my team of misfits. Well, you can see how the longevity of, I mean, every character technically. At the end I was just spamming abilities. I was far too conservative. Especially, I mean, Leo, he can go on forever. I was spamming and spamming, getting his EX up over and over again. It was a thing of beauty. So obviously, single target fights, he is a boss. Literal boss. But I don't know why him and Galuf are together. Galuf wants the enemy to act as much as possible. That way the cover buffs aren't running out and he can counter. And this fight actually had a lot of magic attacks, so it didn't really suit Galuf that well. It's probably more Leo's featured fight. But I hope you can see the pros and cons of both kits that way, because you can see that Galuf, he was just covering, but he wasn't doing much damage. Well, mine's 0-3, but still. Because his damage mainly comes from counters, and when the fight is not doing counters, the only benefit it was giving me is not worrying about breaks. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you at Fran's banner and kit review. So, good luck to everyone pulling on her, and I wish you all the best, and everyone stay safe. Bye.